Yes, we'll bring this March 20, 2024 meeting to order. Talking about the 1 o'clock trail workshop. Instead, you want to come up and talk first?
Who? Oh, Anson.
Instead, I can't remember names. John, remember, no, I can't remember.
Mr. Wilson.
Mr. Wilson.
As previously given to you, there is a handout on the Town of Anstead Hawksnest Trail trestle. In the trestle, we have a Department of Highways grant to refurbish the large trestle on the trail. $647,645.60. The town's part is $129,529.12. That's a 20% match, and we respectfully ask for some assistance in getting that money. There is a second trestle on the trail that is the Fox Branch trestle. We have started engineering work on working on it. Estimation of expense is $325,000, and we're looking to raise $65,000 for our part. Then we're looking at doing an engineering study to construct a bike trail from the Hawksnest State Park up through Long Route 60 and then up Golly Mountain to what used to be the fire tower, and then back down and down the rail trail and then back up to the Hawksnest State Park. And that is an estimation of $25,000 to do the engineering. There be any questions? Or
I don't have any.
No, we don't have any.
No, I don't think I do.
Everything's right here.
Yeah.
all righty.
Thank y'all. Pretty good. Thank you for putting this. Tell the mayor, thank you for putting this together. It's good.
You never compliment the mayor.
If anybody wants to see a copy, you can take a look at mine, what Anstead presented.
All right, I don't know who we ought to let go first and who's here for what.
Let's see who's anybody on
Want to start with Andy?
Yeah, we can start with Andy.
You.
It's you, Andy.
Okay.
Well, if you could just kind of tell us what you've got going.
I think as was mentioned this morning, I came to speak specifically about funds to go towards a trail project in Mount Hope, the Mount Hope Rails Trail project, and would be first for the acquisition of the rail corridor, currently owned by two entities, both willing sellers. And we had priced those out years ago, so some updates would need to be done to get a final contract drawn up. But the approximate purchase price of both pieces would be $120,000. The city of Mount Hope would intend to take ownership of that with the intention of annexing the corridor into its city limits so that it can continue the trail corridor upon completion. And then around the same time, we were working and got some preliminary cost estimates for the construction of this 3.5 mile trail. It was approximately just shy of $500,000, and that was over 5 years ago. So we are asking $500,000 with the intention of applying for additional grant funds to augment any additional costs necessary for the remediation, capping of the abandoned railroad track, and then conversion into a multi-use red trail. So as Mayor Kessinger spoke to that this morning, he asked me to speak on their behalf, and this is certainly a project that fits into the connectivity plan for the region and for the county, and would effectively connect the city of Mount Hope via the Summit's property up to Garden Ground. into the national park.
Okay.
All right, so
Any questions?
I don't have any questions.
Matt, do you have something?
I'm mainly here just to listen as the brownfields contractor and then get ideas on sites that you may
Okay.
be able to take through phase 1, phase 2, and then apply for cleanup grant funding.
Okay. Brian? Yeah, but you wanna,
We have some guys here gonna talk a little bit about what we're.
okay, did Mike have anything? Mike, did you have anything to
Hey,
add?
Abby.
No, I covered everything.
Okay, cool. Okay, I'm just trying to figure out who's with who and who's gonna present, so. Are all you folks together?
Oh, that's Jerry Cook
Yeah,
from
Jerry
Ace and
Cook.
Dylan.
I know Jim- I know-
All together as Fayette County residents.
Jim-
Fayette County trails.
Same old
But
man.
we want to hear everybody's trail ideas.
Yeah, that's what,
It's a
that's
good
what
time
this one.
to get all the experts in the room was the idea. Does Trail Coalition have anything it wants to pitch or?
I'm just here to learn. I don't even know exactly what the goal here is, but I'm wondering if it has to do with like, there's still some ARPA money and you're thinking about how to spend that.
Yes,
And
so-
you're trying to get ideas to consider. What to do that.
100% correct.
Well, then, I'll speak for, we've seen this before, the Fayette County Soft Surface Trail Fund,
Mhm.
which included the second phase of Wolf Creek Park, Eagle Eye, the town trail work. And there's a dedication next Tuesday on that. And then, the county park, Brian's Kingdom. And, there's money, thanks, first of all, thank you all so much for the match. To redirect the ARC fund. That, nothing could have happened there. And you understand where that money's going. It's going to Needles Eye and also King County.
Mhm.
But we know already that there's gonna need to be more money to complete that plan. There's a bridge, part of that plan is a bridge across the creek. Bridges aren't cheap. We've got some budget numbers from when this plan was done, but a lot's happened since then in terms of cost materials. And so that's Brian's baby. I'd love to hear latest thoughts on that. And I also wanted to ask if the title transfer to NRGRDA for Wolf Creek Park.
That's, what do you
It's
have?
the title transfer.
I think it's already been transferred.
The last I heard, it had gotten to NRGRDA and Jenna still had to sign it. Andy, do you know?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah,
And I don't know where anything stands there with any potential buyer, but I did leave a message with that fellow Bart, who was with the Crest Foundation yesterday, just saying what's up. Are you guys gone? Are you still in?
You'll be happy to know the Alabama developers are reinterested.
Oh, are they?
Yeah, and they had, in our opinion at the time, the best plan for that area.
The ones that came up from Knoxville, yeah. The residential, they were looking at residential development,
Yeah.
pretty dense.
Yeah.
Anyway, with that change and things moving forward, Wolf Creek Park, that phase 2 that's in the soft surface plan, it'd be great to kind of keep that dream alive. And then I was curious about that 4 mile section of rail trail that will put the Meta River Rail Trail to bed. That section goes from the county property downriver about 4 miles to the NPS property. I understand that you had made contact, perhaps
We made an offer, but there was no
Interest.
no interest. But we're still interested. I would still like to talk about it and entertain something. And I've even talked about running it all the way to Golly Bridge. That's, I think it could be done.
Yeah.
I think it could be done. In fact, I looked at something yesterday. You could actually take it all the way to Cathedral Falls. That track is abandoned there. I've got pictures that I've sent CSX because they told me it was live. And went down there and took pictures and I said, it's not live. And I still haven't had a response out of them because that's where it could connect. You can go across the trestle.
Yeah.
In the Golly Bridge. So that's what I pitched to CSX and asked them if they would consider it. So that's
Well, I think the writing's on the wall for contacted the landowners in the River Gorge. There's been a lot of discussion there, and there's, relative to that, there may start selling some property down there, and work Matt Forstone, treating that trail. I was out there Sunday riding that thing. It's so good. You know, past the river crossing upstream on the meadow, like we always come up from Russellville or Nowland, and you get there and it used to be just brush. And I can see the surface, the good surface continues now, but I didn't go find out how far because of the bridge.
It'll go all the way right now.
It's done.
Well, we got a $1.8 million AML grant. Property that was adjacent to an AML.
Hamler money,
Yeah.
smooth Hamler.
Who's it's been a little less than smooth, but the design is done. And they've got some new requirements for that grant where we have to get a NAS built appraisal.
Yeah.
So that the federal interest, there's some new requirements there, but as soon as the appraisal is done, they'll release the construction fund. And we're hoping in the next month or two we'll have to do. Then another year and a half, you could go from right now all the way to where it ends now, and now in post office.
And then, I mean, then you're begging that 4-mile connector, and that's so. That seems like from a rail trail perspective, a great place to spend some money. Like, we don't know what's going to close the deal, right? We don't know what all this is worth, and everybody thinks it's on $1 million around that stays change. But there's got to be some actual figure.
And we hadn't pushed it too much just because where do you go from there? But
right.
The Park Service has expressed interest in developing the Meadow River Trail within their boundaries. So really that section.
Wait, I mean, the NPS below there. Yeah, well, we have some here from NPS. So another questions about that one tunnel. Yeah,
and we should anyway, they contacted us and we had, I mean,
with Charlie and Newsom. Yeah. Yeah, he's a can do.
Yeah. We talked to Capito's office originally and they said it takes an act of Congress and we don't want to do that. But then Charlotte seemed interested in, Andy attended that meeting. And, yeah, they seem interested in working on that.
So just to wrap up what I'm saying here, I think this plan is alive and well, and in support for that, we greatly appreciate it. Want to drill down on that, Corey is a resource working with OEDC now. We've all been talking, and then that rail trail piece seems valuable.
So really the holdup with the rail trail piece is the landowners don't want to come off of the land, or is that right?
They want more money.
Well, is it more money, or they don't want to sell it all?
I think money talks.
Well, money talks, but also access to the property. I think that was a big issue. I think we sat down with them and access to the property if they need property in order to log it or hunting and stuff like that. And, I've always told them we can work out the details if everybody knows what everybody wants.
Right.
And work a plan out and work a partnership out. But, everybody's a little skeptical sometimes when you mention stuff like that, but I mean, I've always engaged them and will still engage them to try to do that. So.
And so some of the things, so Gene was right, and we've had so many workshops and meetings so far this morning that we didn't properly introduce our purpose, but we do have a total of 4.5 million of ARPA money left because we had originally allocated 3.5 toward a broadband match, and the state didn't come through on its part. So now we're holding workshops on special interest areas, and trails is a big interest area. So we can try to figure out, get a sense of what projects are out there, which ones are grant funded, which ones need matches, and where we might allocate some of that money. Now, all of it is not going to go to trails, obviously, because we have municipalities and PSDs and others that need funding, but we are committed to trails. So we wanted to hear from you guys who are experts and out there building them and maintaining them to find out, where the most bang for our buck would be. And how much those things cost. And if you don't know the answers to all of that today, I mean, you probably know some of them, but you'll have an opportunity to follow up, because I don't think we're going to make a full decision until later this year, maybe in May or June. But that's really what we wanted to do with the workshops. Like we have one on the memorial building in the park, And of course, the trails were a piece of that. And that was a really productive one. We found out, you know, basically where we need to put money and, you know, that sort of thing. And municipalities just came in with their asks. But you guys are out there riding these trails and you know which ones, where our investments would be best realized. And, you know, and this 4-mile trek is maybe something that we can attain depending on what the landowners will and will not do. And we don't know what the national park is willing to do for its trails, because once you build them, you have to maintain them and that sort of thing. Jerry, you
Yeah, you might get the bitch to say
Yeah.
something.
But the railroad grade now on the valley is mixed. You're not really a rail trail yet, but we own 1.5 miles of Woods Ferry, which halfway point. We'd be glad to grant it right away. Also, when it goes all the way to Peters Creek Tunnel and comes out, it's 1,200 feet to our property. We don't have to put the right away all the way down to Sugar Creek. I'll give it to you if you want it.
That'd be great.
You have to build a trail, but
Right.
the fuel is 100 feet. Still, and years.
You cross the river there, you use the bridge, you stay on the left.
Yeah, we have 100 feet on the left.
Oh, wow.
100 feet all the way down. You can look at the tax map.
Okay, yeah. I know Jeff
That
Parker.
takes you to Sugar Creek. That could take you up to Anstead Mountain. If you wanted to hook to the Anstead. Trail.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about.
Yeah,
Okay, that's just on Sugar Creek Road.
yeah.
Or if you want to keep on going down. Well, listen, it's Christian all the way to Jody.
So if we looked on the map and got something together on an agreement, you wouldn't have a problem with that. I mean,
Not at all.
Yeah, and you could
just
put
working out the details.
something in
on it.
it about the trail.
Cause I know that, I talked to Jeff, he owns a piece of property down there, I believe Proctor, and then I think, I hadn't been a couple of years since I talked to him. He owns some property down there also I talked to him about, and I don't know whether Jeff Proctor, but it's not Jeff.
That not to go through the town.
No,
Be on the circle above.
okay, is it above it? Okay,
You go through the town, it's 400 feet. With the park on it, and you have a piece of it.
okay. Well, maybe that was the piece he was talking about, because he didn't know whether you could go through the tunnel or not. Maybe that's what it was. So the tunnel is, you can't access it, and it's, okay.
We need to walk across Bear Creek Bridge.
All right.
But it goes to the large track. So we've got the left side, but if you want to go the trail,
Yeah,
I donate some time too.
okay.
I bet Monkey Toys.
Right. Good,
There's a big piece there that you guys are thinking about. You and I talked about how do you get people, if we do the loop through the gully and back through, and we have the trail concept at the park, where's the connector? And you did talk about the DOH at the Cotton Hill Bridge.
Mhm.
You know, that's a missing link there too. If these guys are all working together, you find a way to do the big loop. And really, as a workshop, that should be part of it, is like your immediate need, and then more importantly, what's our need 15? How do you link all this together to have Oak Hill, Anstead, Mount Hope, all this group together? Everybody in this room has those parts and pieces together.
Yeah.
Right there, the Scarlet Bridge is something else. That line would be creeper.
Mhm.
Well, yeah, I tell you, to me, I would like to have that done. I mean, I think that's a big deal.
Andy likes single track. When you're 73, you like downhill.
Yeah,
When you're 53, you like downhill also.
Well, you actually do need both.
need all
Okay,
types.
Boxy.
Yeah,
You do, and then you can utilize the rail trail to connect to the other single track
Sure.
trails, that's even better.
Helen likes a
But
straight.
I just wanna piggyback off of what Jean said, so that then we can, close our group. I think Fayette County Park, you guys have already made an amazing investment, so again, thank you for that. But seeing that through completion, I don't know the official budget and what the ARC split is going to be. The numbers that we had from 2021, and this is without the bridge, was roughly 700,000 for that. So with a bridge, we're looking closer to $1 million, probably. And we could talk about, a good plan of what it would look like, how much trail we could get. Maybe we could do all of it phase 1, we'd have to do phase 2, but I think since you've already made an investment there, we've got an amazing group of the OEDC, Region 4, NRJRDA, the Fayette County Park, and then FTC, Fayette Trail Coalition pulled together already, that it would be great to realize that asset that we have invested. That would be my ask, is to just build upon that.
Which bridge did we get funding from DOH, Ruth, do you remember? Is it the same bridge?
That's
It's totally unrelated.
That's the animal
animal
shelter.
shelter.
That's the animal
Okay.
shelter
So we
bridge.
have the animal shelter, but also when we talked to John at Region 4, he thought that there was some money stashed to the side for the bike trail bridge. We weren't quite sure on that one. That was something that's why we're here. It's obviously to figure if you have this, the ARC money, where's the parts and pieces that you miss? Like obviously that bridge is a part. So if we have it stashed a little to the side for that, that's a big part of the cost on that bridge side there to connect the Girl Scout side to the old Flower Park side there. And then also looking forward, when you're allocating the money that you have saved, is also like, what's it gonna cost the next few years of maintenance for all these groups of these things that we're talking about? So we don't wanna build them and then,
Not be able to.
then keep coming back next year, like, hey, we should get back money for, let's think about a little bit of that future of the trail maintenance and what we need to do. And after these trails are built the right way, they're not high intensive maintenance, but it's there. You know, you do have to have a group and a concept of where you want to go.
Well, that's a great role for volunteers, and that's what, the work that we've been doing this winter has all been maintenance out of Wolf Creek. No, nothing new, but we're building near the county last winter. And so that's the place, we plug that in. I think the volunteer effort's gonna shift probably more to maintenance. All the new construction.
I think it'd be entirely fair to ask the Boy Scouts to engage on some of that trail maintenance too. I mean, in our day report center, there's a lot of, places where we can draw upon, I think, to help, because they do trail maintenance in the park now, don't they, the Boy Scouts?
Yeah, I mean, and most recently they've, it's just been like the Order of the Arrows, like not really the groups from the summit, and like last time it was a jamboree that wasn't trail maintenance focused, like some of the projects that were in the past. Like in the time I've been at the park, I haven't seen like a real close working relationship with them. I think that's something that Charlie, our superintendent, is working on, trying to like re-engage with them.
We've been working on that too, so
Okay.
hopefully we can
Yeah.
prevail in that.
Jerry?
Jerry.
I bought 10 acres between, Hill's Eye and our property. And I said, you can have a right of way, I'll deed it to you, whatever you want to do. That takes from Hill's Eye all the way to the Park Service Trail South Side. And the Park Service back there in the middle trail too, we call Erskin on the property. And he said, well, it has to be public. Oh, that's fine. I'll give a Park Service right away at 8 foot or whatever. So that connects Hill's Eye to the river. Also, we own within a half a mile the backside of Wolf Creek too. On the backside of Wolf Creek, our property is about half a mile. And most of it is an old road. I think it's 20 mile road.
Tony Hall number 2.
So it wouldn't take a whole lot to connect those two together.
But Tony Hall number 2 it ends at Gatewood. Where would you jump from Tony Hall number 2 to
Well, as soon as you cross Gatewood, there's one little track there that got about the brown stake with the big rock wall. And just one little track, and it's our property.
Okay, who owns that track of?
It's the guy who bought the brown stake.
Okay, so we don't know if he lets us do that.
No, but right next to it is the what's the doctor's name out there?
Yeah, I know you're talking about.
He owns several lots here too. And they're all high, so they'll all be around 1,900 to 2,000 feet. Well, I do that. We can have it.
I mean, I mean,
Here, doesn't it?
yeah, that'd be good. I mean, man, there's so much going on now. I'm trying to look on here to look at all these properties you're talking about and talk to at the same time. Can't.
Well, and I think we need to also look at the economics of it, and certainly the OEDC has far more data. I know the RDA probably does as well, but when you look at outsiders coming here and spending dollars at our restaurants, at our hotels, Airbnbs, they are looking for a critical mass of trails, and often it's maybe a single track trail network, and it's not necessarily going to be 3 miles of a canal trail or something like that. So if we can connect different groups or create itineraries where they have enough to do over a 2 to 3 day period, that makes sense. But you know, I guess, do we want to connect Fayetteville to Oak Hill so we can get to the grocery store? Or do we want to draw people from DC and Charlotte and, you know, the large metropolitan areas as a recreational destination? So I think that's something else that should be considered.
So to kind of echo what Abby just said, I've traveled around my entire life riding bikes. Pretty much all I've ever done. Still do as much as I can. I just spent, what, 2.5 weeks in the desert. The first thing I do while I'm going somewhere is look at trail systems. I don't look at connectivity necessarily. It's nice, but if I'm traveling, I'm not looking at connectivity. If I live there, I start looking. Connectivity, I think, would draw me as to move somewhere because, well, if I live over here, I can ride over there. I'm not driving my car. You probably all see me riding around. I hate cars. I'd much rather ride my bike everywhere. But those trail systems are important. And I see that every day at work. The bike shop down the street, so I talk to people about bikes every single day and where to ride and things they have. They say, I've ridden the Arrowhead trails. They're fun. They're muddy. I've ridden the Wolf Creek. They're great. Where's the other systems? The first thing they ask. The next logical step is obviously to me to count the park. And then we start having that critical mass of trails. When people look at the trail map, there's an app that everyone uses called Trailforks. We all use it. It's really up to date. Works everywhere. So everybody has it. You look at it and you say, and this happens here. They're like, well, there's only 2 trail systems. So they'll glance over it because there's not enough. But if we start to gain that critical mass of trail systems, then we start seeing more users. We start seeing more money coming in. We start seeing more people want to be here full time. And then we start finding more money for these connectors. Basically, we build the pockets and then we figure out how to connect them. People aren't against riding on the road as long as it's somewhat safe. And I do ride all over. There's some trails I like in Somersville. I ride up there and it's not terrible. But I think building those pockets and focusing specifically on County Park would be a really key piece. And as far as trails I get asked about every day, I have a tally sheet at the bike shop, a little check mark, rail trail, soft surface trail, probably 100 to 1. I haven't counted in a while. It's a lot more soft surface trail. That's the majority of what we get asked for. The people looking for rail trails are typically looking for 30 to 50 miles. So that's a lot of time. And I think you put time into those, and as you've experienced, it's very hard to get the connections. One landowner can stop your whole route, right? These soft surface trails are something we can probably focus on and get going easier. In the meantime, we work on this big connectors and figuring out how to play all those pieces. But if we build the soft surface trails, we start building the critical mass, and people will use those. They're not even driving a few miles. And if they're staying here a weekend or a week, they're hanging out at their Airbnb or their hotel or where they're camping, and they're driving place to place anyway. And residents, I don't think, have an issue with hopping in their car or pedaling across town and it's fine. But that's been my experience and what I've seen over the last more years than I care to admit because it makes me feel old. So, yeah.
Go ahead.
I wanted to introduce myself because I haven't got to yet and formally my new role. My name is Corey Lilly. I'm formerly the Director of Outdoor Economic Development for the City of Beckley and led the Beckley Outdoors Initiative, where I worked over there for many years. I've been a Fayette County resident for a long time and live just right across the road from here. I started a new role with the Brad and Lee Smith Outdoor Economic Development Collaborative at WVU, and I work as the manager of outdoor community development with my priority focus area as a Newport Gorge as a resident of here. One of my signature projects that I'm working on is the Newport Gorge Ride Center. It's an International Mountain Biking Association Ride Center. It's an initiative to get the designation, and the designation is a 30-minute drive time. And within that 30-minute drive time, you have 50 miles of mountain bike optimized trails that create the preferred experience for the mountain bike user group. This was selected by the USDA as a real partner signature project. And the project leads on that USDA, the OEDC, and the National Park Service. So within this, we're looking to create, within the 30-minute drive time radius, 50 miles of soft surface trails. So we already have about 25-ish miles of trails, but we got to get that 50 miles, and then also help with business development that supports the amenities that user groups are looking for. So I wanted to make the Fayette County Commission aware of the project, and certainly projects that are in the Fayette County Trail Soft Surface Trails Plan would contribute towards that designation of getting that International Mountain Biking Association designation. So I wanted to make the group aware of that and to share my business card with you all to have future communication and be able to share additional resources as they come available.
You have one, Brian? Thank you. Next page. So, well, I kind of think we might need one of you who's an expert to get Brian maybe or Andy to get everybody together to come up with some priorities of these trails, like based on the input we've had today. And for us, you know, and based on the knowledge and that sort of feedback, because that's something I wouldn't know. I mean, I don't travel around to bike. But I mean, I like to do it on occasion and it needs to be pretty flat. But yeah, not here, you know, unless I'm riding to the park from my house or something. But anyway, you know, I feel like there's just a lot of information in the room and maybe we didn't prepare you well enough to help us set some priorities for this. But like I mentioned, we have a couple of months before we're probably going to make the final decisions. We might make some small decisions in the intervening time that won't impact what we allocate toward trails. But we have time to come up to, we want to spend the money wisely.
I have a question. You're having different workshops. You have a municipal one and PSD trails, and I'm not sure what else.
Parks, the park in the memorial building was one.
And you've got $4.5 million. And so when you start stacking those workshops, you go poof, right? I mean,
It's not a whole lot, really.
Yeah. But and so I'm just was wondering, had you I know you've been spitballing about what to do with this, but like a percentage that you want to put towards these different topical areas, you know, do we have a number we could work with as far as
we're just gathering information right now.
Well, because we're not, you know, we're not as, or haven't been, and this is one of the last of the workshops that we've had, but we haven't been as well informed as we'd like to be about all of these issues. And these are things, you know, you guys come to us and ask for money, we don't have it. Now we have money, so we're inviting the people who've asked for money in the past back to the table to let us know all of their needs. You know, she's just New Haven PSD came in with some serious multi-million-dollar projects that he said, if you could fund this one project, which would take all the ARPA money, you know, then all this would be fixed. So, but others have come in with modest requests. You know, we need an excavator for this PSD, we need that. So I think we have to look at it all together and look at, you know, which things are critical. But I mean, I'm not opposed to putting a substantial amount of money toward this. We're not talking small numbers.
We know it also be good. It's obvious that would be more regular discussions, updates on trails and ideas and sort of collaborative thinking. Like you see the announcement for the AML money recently, the deadlines in May.
Yeah.
Seems like a perfect.
Matt was just talking to us about it this morning and has been getting us up to speed on that.
Yeah, it seems like that's worth considering. And you know, there's capacity in the community to help pull that kind of application together.
Well, I think there are a couple of things. One is this money, and then another is, like Brian was mentioning, the larger plan, and you know, coming up with, let's prioritize, let's start budgeting, let's start asking for earmarks and things like that.
Sort of a rolling
over time, just to keep it going. And that's what we're doing with some of the other things that we've been, I mean, we keep asking for the infrastructure money across the river. We, you know, keep going in for those things. And I think eventually we're going to get it. And we keep trying to stack different grants and resources. So I think if we came up with a plan and we could start with, where's the most bang for our buck for whatever we're able to invest now?
That's kind of the question right now.
Yeah, that's
so you would like to follow up sort of prioritized package of what the ID number today.
Yes.
And a price. You got old prices. from what you said, are old figures.
Yeah,
They need to be, if anything needs to be updated, I mean, we'd like to.
Yeah, but I mean,
An actual
we'd love
quote.
to get $1 million.
but it's not off the table.
Okay.
So,
Okay, great.
but Mr. Kessinger in the back can tell you, he showed up at municipality this morning. He said, I didn't know we could give a wish list. You know, give your wish list, you know, because, you know, we may come across funding at some other point that would feed into this. So we, you know, if we're aware of what's out there and we have a plan, a trail plan, we could start, you know, organizing our efforts to realize those.
Or this investment could trigger interest.
It sure could. And grant matches, of course, are always attractive to us because, you know, some of it's already being funded. So if you have grant matches like the Needle's Eye, that was not a difficult decision at all. That made a lot of sense. And so we did it, and it was a lot of money. So don't be afraid to ask for it. I mean, Abby's not afraid to ask for it. She goes 700, you know, for that park trail.
But a lot of that's already ARC funded, hopefully.
Right. And so the point is that, you know, this is an opportunity. It's money that we didn't have before. And, you know, the biggest bang for our buck is what we're seeking right now, because we are going to invest in trails with this money. It's just a matter of what.
I think Corey said too, remember Corey's talking about it. We have 25 miles of existing trails already. And if we have a short gain to get another 25 miles, and then you get some of the W action coming in, which is, bam, we're off the bat, cross promotion. It just starts, you have a goal to go for. That's one of those priorities that we all think that
it's going to help us get funding.
Kind of a local example. So there's another Indoor Ride Center within the state of West Virginia, and that's Pocahontas area. So if anybody knows of Snowshoe and the attraction that they've been able to pull now, it's a much different level because they're a bike park and stuff like that. But they have hosted world-class events, and they're hosting the World National or Marathon Worlds. Marathon Worlds is happening in Snowshoe this year. Charleston got road cycling nationals for the next 5 years. So there's going to be a lot of activity in, you know, the surrounding areas too. And the Beaver Gorge just keeps popping up. I mean, National Geographic just picked us up. I mean, we're not going away by a long shot. So just building those foundation blocks is only going to behoove us to.
We'll add to that with the ride center designation. It's that 30-minute drive time radius. So you can kind of choose the geographic center of that, even though the experience center might be much different. So what we've looked at with this initiative is combining the efforts of the Beckley Outdoors Initiative and the interest in Winter Place Ski Resort to become a downhill mountain biking park, combined with the Fayette County Trails Plan. So between the two of those efforts, it will get us to that designation that will come help. So, but there's a little bit further that needs to happen on the Fayette County side, and Beckley is just in the beginning of, they just went through some engineering, and a trail system is soon to be looked at. We're going next week with Commissioner from Raleigh County to a trail system there in Beckley. So the complementary efforts between the two counties and the municipalities within them, and the private businesses like Winter Place, and opportunities like ACE and other large land managers can contribute to the initiative. So there's the outdoor infrastructure component of this, that if the infrastructure is in place, then additional efforts by the Outdoor Economic Development Collaborative that looks at helping the business development around that, so we get a greater economic impact. Just placing the trails themselves.
I agree with pretty much everything being said. I think we should have trails at all different levels. We have 100,000 visitors a year, and our most asked question, which my son does trails, is what trails are there? Number one question that comes in the Welcome Center with 100,000 guests is trails. The thing I'd like for also to consider is it's kind of like a pyramid. You said that you ride a bike, but it appears to be pretty flat. And if you look at mass of America, you know, they're not in great shape, and you need that. It's a pyramid. Yeah, you can get more advanced and more advanced, but don't forget but the average Joe is the average Joe. So I do a variety. Like skiing, you got 30% easy, 30% intermediate, and 20% black diamond. I think we have to have that stack.
Yeah, I agree
for
with you.
everybody, because I mean, I'm 73. I'm not gonna. I don't do King steps anymore.
I agree with you 110%.
It's not worth it to me.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna die. So.
I heard you're picking that up.
We need to share with it.
That's what I'll go.
So that we can attract all kinds of people.
And
I like the high end, I like the low end, I like the middle. I
One
like.
family.
And that's part of the ride center criteria, isn't it? It's like you have to fill all the different.
What's the percentage?
diverse
What's the
group.
percentages?
what's
What's the
that?
percentages that's most sought out? What's the lowest, what's percentages of the most difficult to the least difficult? You should know that.
Yeah, so it is correlated with the user group. So for example, your enthusiast category, which is like your intermediate to advanced, is the primary percentage of the user group. So they look for like an intermediate style trail. So the volume of trail that they're looking for is greater than the volume of trail that a beginner would look for. A beginner might want to go out for 5 miles, 6 mile ride on beginner trail on trails, and that provides a good day experience for them. When the large user group sits in the middle of like blue trails, and then you have your black trails, for example, that might be used as marketing material or tourism products to really engage excitement around coming to the destination. So when you look at the ride center criteria, you look towards catering to each one of those experience objectives, but creating the outdoor infrastructure that provides a multi-day experience so that your core user group of the primary user that is going to provide the most economic impact is catered to while providing a path of progression from beginner to expert. So
No, not meaning to laugh at you, but I don't think you really answered my question, but you have, but you haven't.
So to answer your question directly, you want around like 50% of your trails be at the intermediate, and then the 25 and 25 would be on the other side, breaking down very simply.
Thank you very much. It's all, you're just going the long way around. I'm not having to make fun of it. Saying it.
So, like for example, when we look at parallel sports, like Jerry, what is the most popular river experience that you all offer?
We offer it across the country.
Is it the lower new, the upper Golly, upper new? What is the most?
Well, ours is a lower new, and across the country, it's between beginner and intermediate.
Right, because and here
what I would call skiing blue. It's not the advanced, it's not the easy, it's that middle.
Yeah. So
where if you're not in great shape, you could probably pull it off.
Right.
We're really fast. Somebody's pretty good to still have a good time. But I looked at the Virginia Creeper too. That's amazing. But I also look at snowshoe and what they do, which is the advanced. That's amazing. I just think it'd be nice to have some kind of plan where we just look at all of it instead of one way or the other.
Right, and that's it, where the experience for, the biggest return on the investment is that lower new piece, which is the intermediate of the whitewater program. So you're looking to create a similar thing.
Yeah. Okay, you answered my question.
You can look at data, so all those mapping things, Trailworks is the one I use the most. You can actually look at heat maps on those. I'm sure you've looked at those.
Ride with GPS.
Ride with GPS, they all have them. And if you look at heat maps nationwide, it's kind of hard to break them into 3 categories, but like slightly harder, intermediate to easy advanced sees the most traffic. If you look at trail systems and their use, I think that stands true here. From running trips, I've been guiding bike tours since I was 18. When I was younger than that, I'll be 43 here soon. It's kind of crazy. Most people, we can take them out and halfway through their trip, take them from beginner trails to intermediate trails. With instruction, we can have somebody from a beginner trail onto an intermediate trail within like 3 or 4 hours usually. People advance pretty quick. And that's just like soft surface stuff. Rail trails, I see it. That's a totally different thing. I don't really think of them as graded, but I agree. Like while I like the really hard, weird stuff, I think the majority of the trail system is typically blue. And I think our trail plans reflect that, which is pretty cool. I think what County Park is, it's got some green and then a lot of blue over on the side that meets the bridge. So green on the side that's developed, which is pretty cool. But yeah, we're fortunate. We actually have a really good basis of intermediate riding.
And the green stuff that you're talking about, Andy, too, it's not like a lot of things, if you're not familiar with it, it's not really the steepness and the down of the trail or the up of the trail. It's really the perimeter of the trail. Like the green that we talked about in the park, if you're taking a little kid to learn to ride a bike and he goes off the trail, looks super great, it's flat, right? And a trail that's like alongside the mountain, then there's a little bit more factor there if it goes over. So it's one thing to think about. It's not always that grading up and down. But like Andy was talking about, we met with Rich from WVU, and he's always talking about how much flatter than the side of the trail. And there's pretty good, not walls, but how he gauges his trail, which is pretty scientific with it. You know, like how much, if you go off the trail, are you okay? Or if you go off the trail, like a snowshoe, and you go over a hill, it's a little bit bigger game to play with.
We do run it. We run it in, like, the county park has some environmental constraints. There's no way to deal with the side hill other than just to deal with it. You have to go there. It's like this. We can cut a bench in it. We just cut the bench wider. But that's pretty easy tread out there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Easy as it can be. I think it's mostly under 7%.
Yeah, and then we had a big flat spot we talked about, like interlocking just the shoulders together. It's like, you know, like, there's a place where you take your kids and you're okay with them riding from there to there and you're okay with it. And then there's some of that single track that we see in Fayette a lot. You know, you don't just let them roll, you gotta go with them. So there's so many different variables of what they were talking about. I just want you guys to see that. It's not all, sometimes when we think about riding a bike, it's like, how steep is it, right? You know, or steep down. It's also the size too. It's just a different plane.
That green loop at the park when it's done, it's gonna blow some kids' minds. They're gonna ride that trail and go, wow, I can't believe we rode that.
Absolutely.
Because of when you stand back and look at the terrain you're on, it doesn't seem possible, but controlling the grade of the trail, it's gonna be a great, probably 3 miles.
And you also go to multi-use too. When you get to those green trails, is it walkable?
Yeah.
Sure.
Oh,
Could
it's
you think
all multi-use.
yeah, I mean, like, is there, like, that's the whole thing of that part, is when you get more green versus black, you don't take a stroller with black, you know, but you can walk around. Yeah. You might be able to, I don't know.
Yeah,
Might be fun.
Yeah, but
their baby will be on the
I was
black,
gonna say,
your baby may be on the.
And that's probably another way to look at the soft surface stuff too. Like we talk about it as bikes because we like bikes, but I walk on all these trails too.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I walk in the town park or out there every day. It's close to my house. So it's
Well,
like,
Brian Baker at Ace is done with trail running in this area. I mean, he's bringing people from
32 states.
yeah, 32 states into our area for his 100-mile run, his 60-kilometer run, and he's got 3 different races.
Oh, wow, all three.
Yeah.
he punishes them. Like, they really, like, not friendly events, those events are.
They're clearly
All that stuff
masochists who-
really pop up.
But you have experts and you have people that if I just finish on that. We had a 68-year-old guy, he said, we said 32 hours, you have to, that's it. He said, you're not getting me out of here.
Yeah.
When he refused to go, he went with 38 hours, but he finished and he just, that's what he wanted to do. That was his goal, was to finish, and he finished. Pretty cool. Then you have other people that are 14.5 hours, ran 100 miles, how they do it.
Robert,
Was amazing.
was telling me earlier, that he was down the Mill Creek Trail, you were doing some trail maintenance.
We were doing maintenance, the Lions Club was on the trail.
And a young couple came walking up and they had gone in where, like, where'd you come from? And they had, I guess the guy who run the race, he run the.
Yes, he ran the Rim Trail and ran our trail in the dark, so he came back to see our trail. But anyway, ultimately, he's from East Texas, a surveyor by trade, and his wife has a retail business. But they liked our area so much, they bought a house in Amarillo to come visit and do the trail.
That's an example of like how it's a red carpet residency, and we provide some high quality of life amenities here that people want to stay.
Yeah, you can't really go many other places and be this close to this much high quality recreation. I mean, if you try to go out to the Rockies, you could spend 4 times as much, and our prices aren't cheap.
Thinking about all this from the grant writing perspective, like I think the plan is really important. Because if you write like an AML grant application, they want to see how much, what they give, what's the match, and then how much more is it leveraging. So if all this was in one plan and all these dollars that are already being invested are added up, even though that one little project may not have anything to do with all the other trails in Fayette County, if you write in a grant application that, you know, what Fayette County's match added to this project, but it's part of $30 million of investment, that makes it really easy from a grant reviewer to review. So I think it's important to have that plan to put it all together and prioritize. And then, you know, because you're only looking at $1 million, I think is what I heard.
How current and comprehensive is the soft surface trail plan?
It was done in 2021. Still.
For what we're talking, the big picture,
Mm-hmm.
it's only part of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's only part of it, but I mean, it'd be almost simple. We know all the pieces, we just need to illustrate that and then measure it, you know, start to analyze.
Do we need to commission a broader plan, or is that something that we can compile ourselves?
For plans or federal budget, but.
Yeah, compiling that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of pieces. I mean, the Park Service, they're connecting to Gateway's community. We've got the surface trail. Ace knows what's going on there. The NRGRDA and ODC have started this infrastructure working group on trails. That's 4 counties. So I think there's a lot of collaboration that has started, but it's not like in black and white in print yet. So we may take a little bit of collaboration.
About all these ideas.
I think well said. I think this is a really, you couldn't ask for a more knowledgeable room full of people right now, and everything they've said fits together. Nothing that's been said is at odds with anything else that's been said. But it's a focus is finding out how to get the biggest bang for these bucks. I think the answer will emerge with the mind there.
Mr. Mayor, I showed you one time the GIS hill shape map. Remember that? And if people look at this thing, it's like an X-ray, and this is the gorge. There are so many. I showed this to the superintendent too. Said, my God, there's so many trails that have been created for the last 100 years.
Yeah.
From mining and so on. You looked at them, and I showed him one. I said, if you let me cross the creek there, they used to drive dump trucks that run all the way to the top of the river. Now it's all grown up, but the grade is still there. I mean, what's all bang through your butt?
Well, the trails are still there. I mean, all over the mountains,
All the
along
way to
you
France, all the
right
way
now,
to
you drive anywhere you want to in West Virginia, you look on the side of the mountain, you see all the trails. I know,
This
yeah,
GIS map,
Yeah.
it's stunning. And half the time you didn't know they're there. You can go find them, but there are trails everywhere. We're blessed with all this grade. And to me, it's like, you know, how much can we put out there for our money? You know, as much as we can, and
So when would you like to
all the different levels.
see a priority list? Like if Ryan and I work together and talk to all the people that are here to pull their plans together, what ideally would be a good timeline to get you guys on the same list?
still got June, that's when we're gonna make the decision.
So before June 1st is when we'd like it, but is that the way to, so we've talked about getting all the minds together, but can we come up with the comprehensive plan that we've discussed by then ourselves, or does that need to be part of the equation, is that we commission something bigger?
We need GIS services. But the OED, what do you think, Corey? You're listening to all this.
Yeah, so to create the ideal product of a comprehensive plan, it would take time and some expertise in that, so that you would need to hire out a contractor to carry that out. I mean, we could pull together something that we collectively think, but it's not going to outline it for these big grant submissions. It's not going to be detailed in a comprehensive plan that you might see, like similar to like the county comprehensive. Say it.
That's what they specialize in.
Yeah, and we could do that. There's lots of contractors that we could pull in to do that, and that, I mean, that would be a useful piece of the funds, but and that might later unlock additional funds for us when we're applying for grants. That could be a small piece of it. So if we're looking for the biggest bang for our buck, that's going to have a rippling effect. A plan that would be a comprehensive plan would be great. That would outline priorities for years to come. But then additionally, I think looking at some infrastructure to actually get on the ground.
Well, I think if you put everything together, then we can take it and go from there, right?
And we want to look at your allocation time, like you guys have to a certain, like, so we need to have like that short term, like looking to capture some of the allocated money now. And then that comprehensive plan, we all know the comprehensive plan that's a big one. That's what you want as a community and as a goal, especially with the groups we have. But we got to find a way, like Abby may say, like to prioritize the short benefit now to capture some of this money that they're giving away to all these different groups. And it might not be per dollar, but is that what you're kind of looking for, like an idea? And then you guys go back through, like if that's in June, so mid-May or something, you guys kind of all have a group and say, hey, this is what we think would be a good start. And then obviously, like you're saying, get the next
commission the study, and we can incorporate that into our comp plan, because it used to be back there behind me, but our county comp plan, we can incorporate the trail plan into that. So it's part of everything we do. When we have funding, we can continually go after the next phase.
And maybe try to target an AMLR application. It seems, are you thinking, Matt, of
I'm always thinking.
submitting an AMLR?
I mean, I would like to see the county do it. I know the county had interviewed for a grant writer.
We've already hired one.
Yeah, okay.
We've already hired a consultant.
The county.
Oh, yeah.
The
The
county did,
accountant did, LRA did.
our land reuse agency did, because it has a lot more flexibility.
Yeah.
You
That's
know,
what
I
I said.
always,
Go ahead,
I'm
John.
sorry. I always thought that you just got out and hopped on your bike and went for a ride. And maybe it's now because I can hear what everyone's saying, but there's so much more thought that needs to go into it. And there's a lot of things that you guys brought up today. I'm just up here smiling. I was like, man, I didn't think of that, or I didn't really know that. So I want to thank you all for coming in and opening up my eyes to a lot of different things.
See, if you got everything compiled together, we've already got a recreational consultant to put a plan together. The LRA does.
Who does?
The LRA.
The land reuse agency, the county created a land reuse agency
Oh,
for repurposing land, and when we acquire land for dilapidated homes and stuff like that. But it has a lot of other authorities and flexibilities. It can hold land kind of like the URA could.
URA, but this is probably a better designation, better
Fit.
focus.
Yeah.
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 Right, yeah.
Yeah, so I think next steps are, can somebody volunteer? So Abby and Brian, were you thinking maybe you guys could collaborate and get together with everybody? And I think probably part of that should be, and coming up with somebody who might be able to, or maybe we'll put out an RFP and get some bids on commissioning a plan, because we could spend that money in time. It has to be spent by the end of when, 2025?
2026.
2026.
No, it has to be obligated,
2020.
By the end of
Be
2024.
obligated,
but
but
we're
not
also waiting to see if you guys are giving that money out. They don't call it a sub-recipient, they call it something else, and it may have to be spent by December of this year. So that's what we're waiting on legislature for.
So really,
Because they keep
Initially-
changing the rules, sorry.
yeah, initially you have to have it obligated by end of 2024 and spent by
And spent by
2026.
26.
By 26.
And the new rule. And that could change.
Change the whole thing, change everything.
I have a feeling we can challenge, I mean, the
Well, that's kind
small
of what
government.
Wes said. so
Yeah,
that's what
because
they-
you can't, that's government overreach. You can't create all those rules and then change it after you hand out the money and then decide now you have to spend it too soon. I don't think they're gonna be able to get away with that from a legal
But both of those timelines seem still like, I mean, fairly short to something.
They're very short timelines and
Like in the prioritization of it, looks for like whatever's most shovel ready or like most well designed or something. That doesn't have much hurdle.
yes, and again, the most bang for our buck, like if part of it needs to go, like you were mentioning, toward the study and part of it needs to go toward finishing X component of X trail, you know, maybe we can approach it that way. I think there's enough money to do something like that.
Or at least, I mean, we may not be able to give the authority of the prioritization, but at least we can apply all this projects for you, and then you can decide, you know, with dollar amounts and stuff, what you feel.
You know, basically everything we can afford, I think, is what we're looking at in these, you know, make sure we, you know, we heard some projects that they're communities we still hadn't invested in that are going to be recipients of some of that money because we built, you know, we gave money to community center here. We're going to give money to other community centers, but besides those sorts of projects, I think the rest of it's kind of open to some major shuffling.
Something, you know, trail on ground, see some things done, things completed in planning, and it's more like maybe say a small component, but actually getting a project completed.
So does it sound, would the projects be ranked by closest to construction and like greatest return on investment? And like, are those the two ranking?
Yeah, I mean, if it, like I mentioned earlier, if there's a grant match,
And
that's
there's a
always better,
okay.
You know, that sort of thing. But also things that might not qualify for other funding might be a good place to put some of this money. So that, you know, that's just kind of what I'm thinking.
Okay.
I mean, I would say put a list together and then, you know, maybe we can guys can say, well, this is this is that, and we can take a closer look at prioritizing it afterward. If we have the dollar amounts, if we have the bang for the buck, the understanding of what we will get from it.
Understood.
Be nice to set it up so this is ARPA piece is a match.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's what we've, you know, I think it was ARPA money that we used for Needleside. So, you know, those are much easier decisions because we're getting a lot of bang for our buck when we're paying only 25%.
Yeah.
So that's.
And with the AMBER money, there's not a required match, you know, it's more better.
Yeah. See. So next steps, so you guys are gonna collaborate and hopefully get back to us with something. Jerry, do you have a comment?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Maybe before everyone goes, if we could like share contact, I could put up a note right here and we could share everyone's contact and the project that they're working on, and then it'll help.
We have the room for another hour, so any discussions you want to have or exchange of information you want to have is absolutely fine. I mean, I think we've heard what we need to hear so far. Is there anything else?
No, I want to talk, is the park in the Gauley River, are they interested in doing a trail from, are they serious about it?
Yeah, I mean, our superintendent has talked to a number of fund sources. I mean, it's a project that comes up, you know, I think there's still work to figure out feasibility. I think it's a really great idea. There are a lot of challenges to work through to figure out like making it a reality. But it's come up in more than a couple of meetings I've been a part of. So I think there's definite interest for the part.
Okay, the reason I'm asking is if Jerry and Ace is willing to work with the county and y'all are willing to do it, that makes this more feasible to talk to this other landowner, because when I was dealing with him personally a few times, he said, how do we know it's even going to happen? How do we know it's even going to be extended? What's the use of me giving this up or working with you if they're not interested in doing it at Park Service and extending it? Because like I said, I've always wanted to talk about extending it to Gauley Bridge. He said, how do we know that that's going to happen?
Are you talking about the Nautilus?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the kind of the place that the park is at is just trying to figure out, you know, it's sat there for so long without any, work from the park, so like restoring, I forget the name of the tunnel at the other end. There's restoration work that needs done there, and then obviously all the work through, so it's just, trying to figure out like, what does that figure look like, and then, I think my understanding along there is just property, like I thought that the park owned just like pieces, but both sides, but I learned that, through sections of that, like, it's like, half of the width of the road, like they're, not even, so there's a lot of interest, but like I said, there's work that we need to do to figure out how to make it happen.
Talking to the last 40 years of park superintendents, I've talked to every one of them. It seems to me that they don't like asking for money. It's kind of like a unwritten thing. You don't do that. But if somebody goes and gets the senators to allocate some money, they go yippee yippee. So we might want to look at that scenario too. Is we can go see Manchin and Capito and go, we need this earmark program, because every superintendent I talked to said, I'm not going to stick my neck out asking for money, because that's just something that you don't do. They give you a budget, and here's my budget, and so on. I'm not sure what the newest one has, but I've heard that multiple times. But if they get money, they're certainly spending wisely. So we might want to, instead of going this way, you might have to come from the top down.
Like I said, the last couple meetings I've been a part of, when we're being asked like project ideas, especially like higher end, like multi-million-dollar projects, like this is one that Charlie has said, this is one we're interested in exploring.
Okay. That's all I had.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you, guys.
Is there any way of knowing if there's going to be another earmark cycle?
What do you mean?
Yeah, congratulations, director.
So
Monday was last, what Monday?
Well, it's Manchin expanded his deadline to April 9th.
Oh, that's right, that's right.
April 9th.
Yeah, they just.
Yeah, he extended his, and Capito's hasn't been announced, has it?
And then, anything heading in that direction, any efforts to ask for
trail money?
Yeah, or just any request in the county.
Oh, yeah, well, we put in the same request that we put in to extend Anstead's sewer capacity up.
Okay.
60 to 19 and out through the AUTG property at Chestnutburg to 19 to the visitor center, park visitor center. So we put that one in again.
Right.
And we continue to emphasize that's our top priority, and in that order. And then we have put in for something for the memorial building, because it's, I'm asking, putting something in for the county park pool.
Well, Washington really likes the park concept. You mentioned the word park, and everybody said something. It's almost a state icon now.
Right.
So that's what I look at. That's how you get your money, is at least from Washington is going to be.
And we do emphasize that. I mean, I even spoke about it at More Capito had an event here, and his mother was there. Senator Capito was there, and I even spoke about the issue there again, just to make sure, he understood in case he's elected, and that she understood that we continue to prioritize these things. And, because that's where we see some growth. And I know Gene, you and Mara are very concerned about this, but I also told them we're not looking to become Pigeon Forge or Gatlinburg, where we're so congested that nobody wants to be here, including and especially us.
No, I want to be like Sarksville.
Well, listen, you don't want to be like
I want to be like Sarksville.
Yeah.
Yeah, 19, that's all. 19 needs to be protected for friggin' regretted.
Well, I returned here from having lived all over for a reason, and that's the reason. So, I mean, quality of life is very important to me, because I have had a poor quality of life, having lived in DC for 12 years. So,
I think Route 60, Route 16, Route 61, there's plenty of highways to develop without choking 19 any further.
Well,
That's,
you know,
we've seen it happen. Yeah.
if we don't have infrastructure in there, we're not gonna grow at all. And.
Yeah, I'm just saying, put the infrastructure on Highway 60, Highway 16, 61. But if, you know, there's water, public water and sewer running along Route 19, it's a foregone.
I'm not sure I'm convinced that we shouldn't develop some along 19 there.
I think the Route 60, 19 is definitely a center development as a, you know, I mean, this was all, I think the original plan that got removed was about the best plan you could really imagine based on what's out there.
But we're also looking at the other side of the county, the Mount Hope side, and trying to bring the development in.
Yeah.
From there. So that's, you know, we're not just looking at that side.
But even over there, Route 16 continues to provide, you know, you know, Route 19 is like Main Street, and you want to be able to move down Main Street. We've got a lot of road frontage, I'm saying, that is available, and redevelopment. You know, that Lock Alley corridor still has a lot of potential for redevelopment. You know, where there's maybe tired infrastructure, but there is infrastructure that
But we put in for the same. Now Region 4 puts in some of these things for us. Several PSD requests have gone in.
right.
And NRGRDA is putting in some, including the county park pool.
To the mansion, earmark.
We've been basically requesting the same things from both, and then they collaborate with each other and determine. Last time they both asked for money for the same, for these projects, and got turned down. For both of them got turned down. So I think they'll keep going. I think Congress didn't understand on that infrastructure expansion that when they provided money, earmarked money for Instead's sewer upgrades, that was phase 1 of a 3-phase plan.
They didn't read closely.
Yeah, I don't think they understood that. And then, because Senator Capito came to talk to me after I spoke, and she said, trying to figure out what happened to that. And that was part of it. And I think the other part is they changed some of the rules on them, the Department of Interior, and I know you can relate, changed some rules last minute about some of the way the funding needed to be requested, and it hadn't gotten.
It's complicated.
Yeah.
Congress is incredibly complicated.
Yeah. So, so we keep
Senator
trying.
Capito has a great public lands record as far as and I like the voting across all issues, but her public lands and recreation.
When we've done several support letters for Montgomery and Anstead and Oak Hill on several projects that they have submitted, so those are all good. All right. Well, you guys can stay as long as you like. At 3 o'clock, we're going to be talking about public service districts, but motion adjourned.